Do you remember when we read Old Yeller? Or recently you just watched the movie? But at the end, the boy has to kill his dog. And him and his dog are best friends. His dog's part of the family. They have companionship. He keeps him company. He feels loved and taken care of. And yet, because the dog has rabies, there's not really much of a choice. And he has to shoot the dog. Do you guys remember how sad you guys were when we read that part? Like, remembering maybe if you had a pet and how that felt to have to put that pet down because they were in pain. Well, today we're going to read a section of Mice and Men about Candy and his dog. Now, Candy lives on a ranch, and he's one of the workers. Now, most people who work on a ranch, they go from place to place, and they don't usually stay in one place to make the money. But Candy only has one arm, so he stays at this one ranch. But how can you guys imagine kind of a workplace like that where everyone's always moving? Have you guys ever been in a place like that? Maybe where you don't stay in one place at one time. Would you like to share those stories? How would you feel if you were placed in a situation like this, where Candy is? Put in a job or a lifestyle in which there aren't a lot of people to talk to because everyone's always going around and moving on. And something that another character says, Slim, is that most men act like they're scared of each other, and they're not really friendly. Well, Candy got through this because he had a dog. And have you guys ever felt that way? Have you guys had a pet that you had a bad day, and it was just terrible, and you're depressed, and you want to cry, or throw something, so you come home and your dog is waiting for you, wagging his tail, and it's okay. Like, yes, I have a dog. He's going to keep me company. So, anyone want to talk about their dog? How does your dog make you feel? Or any kind of pet. How does your pet bring some sort of peace of mind? Does he help you? Does he or she help you get past the bad times? So right now we're going to read about what happened to Candy and his dog. During the conversation, responded with like that? Has someone come up to you, maybe a vet or a parent or an older sibling, and told you that, hey, your pet is pretty in bad shape. You need to put him down. How many of you have been in a situation like that? How did that affect you? Candy said hopefully, you ain't got no gun. The hell I ain't. Got a lugger. I won't hurt him none at all. Candy said, maybe tomorrow. Let's wait till tomorrow. Why do you think Candy wanted to wait until tomorrow? If he was going to say it at all. Okay. I don't see no reason for it, said Carlson. He went to his bunk, pulled out his bag from underneath it, and took out a Luger pistol. Let's get it over with, he said. Can't sleep with him stinking around here. He put the pistol in his hip pocket. Candy looked a long time at Slim to try to find some reversal, and Slim gave him none. And I know some of you have been in this sort of situation, where you're between a hard place and a rock. And you're looking out there for another friend, someone to come to your rescue. But no one says anything. How did you feel in this situation when you couldn't get anyone's response? What did you do? Did you stand up for what you were trying to fight for? Or was it too hard that everyone was against you? At last, Candy said softly and hopelessly. All right, take him. He did not look at the dog at all. He lay back on his bunk and crossed his arms behind his head and stared at the ceiling. Would you be able to do this? Would you be able to willingly let your pet go? Was it the right decision for Candy? Do you think Carlson's in the right? Do you think he had the right to tell Candy, hey, gonna shoot your dog, he's in too much pain? Do you think Carlson maybe has some selfish interest in this? You guys remember past things that he said about the dog that may show that he's not doing this entirely for the sake of the dog, but maybe for him? From his pocket, Carlson took a little leather thong, and this would be a leash, no, the other kind. He stooped over and tied it around the old dog's neck. All the men except Candy watched him. Come on boy, he said gently, and he said apologetically to Candy, you won't even feel it. Candy did not move nor answer him. He twitched the thong. Come on, boy. The old dog got slowly and stiffly to his feet and followed the gently pulling leash. George followed to the door and shut the door and set the latch gently in its place. Candy lay rigidly on his bed, staring at the ceiling. Tom said, Candy, you can have any one of those pups you want. Candy did not answer. When you've lost a pet, do you go and get a new one? If you didn't, why was that? And if you did go and get a new pet, why was that? How did that turn out? The silence fell in the room again. It came out of the night and invaded the room. What sort of literary device is Steinbeck using? And why do you think he's using it? George said, anybody like to play a little Euchre? I'll play out of here with you, said Whit. They took places opposite each other at the table under the light. But George did not shuffle the cards. He rippled the edge of the deck nervously, and the little snapping noise drew the eyes of all the men in the room till they stopped doing it. Can any of you imagine what's going on right now? Something bad just happened. Candy's probably depressed. There's this knowing that any moment there's going to be a shot outside that's going to signify that the dog's dead. So there's just this tense silence. Maybe someone's being leaning the cards across. What kind of mood is this setting? The silence fell in the room again. A minute passed, and another minute. Candy lay still, staring at the ceiling. Slim gazed at him for a moment and then looked down at his hands. He subdued one hand with the other and held it down. There came a little gnawing sound from under the floor, and all the men looked down toward it gratefully. Only Candy continued to stare at the ceiling. So in this paragraph, Steinbeck went back to personifying silence. And how did he do that? How does personifying silence as the sort of darkness and thing that settles and invades people's space? How does that reflect the character's mood? Candy, George, Slim? How does that affect the reader's mood? How do you guys feel about it?